What is going on, Metallurgist? Marty here from Heavy Metallurgy with yet another review for you. This time we will be swirling around the infernal bowl, waiting to be flushed to the domain of hell for this invigorating dose of Norwegian black metal. Stick around, let's talk about it. All right, Metallurgists, let's get into it. This time we'll be talking about the sixth full-length release by Oslo, Norway's own Tsjuder. Formed in 1993 with original members Dag and Drogluin. Nag's on vocals and bass. Drogluin is on guitars. Helvegr is what we are talking about today, and it was just released on June 23rd, 2023 via Season of Mist Records. Tsjuder's been one of those bands that's always been on my radar. I own their first couple records. I used to have a more recent one as well, got rid of it. But it is a band that has often impressed me with their tight, blasting, unrelenting, no compromising form of black metal. Never been the most original band on the planet. They don't make any apologies for that, and really, it's not that big of a deal. But with Helvegr, I am quickly put to mind of a band that has no problem embracing the many different finer attributes of other bands in the Scandinavian climate, sonically and stylistically. Mainly, I hear a lot of Helvegr in particular really stands out as being kind of like the kid brother to other such notable blasting weaponized albums such as Panzer Division Marduk. I also, on Helvegr, I'm hearing moments of dissection appreciation and, of course, mayhem. Older De Mysteriis Dom Satanas era mayhem, which I think the band started off in 93, that they shifted away from a death metal band that they were working on and to focus more on black metal inspired by such bands as Mayhem. So apple doesn't fall far from the tree in this department, and it hasn't fallen far from the tree. This is a band that has been a very prolific live act. They've toured, they've done shows, they've released live videos. They've put out full lengths, Kill for Satan, which was greatly applauded as a triumph, Demonic Possession, which is my personal favorite, Desert Northern Hell, Legion Helvete, Anti-Live, and now Helvegr. Let's get into this record a little bit. Again, I am not at all surprised that they wear their influences on their sleeve. Tracks like Tsjuder, I believe is how you say it. There is almost a note-for-note progression at the beginning of the song that puts one in mind of dissection, especially music that could have been on Storm of the Light's Bane. They have a way of focusing on a blasting attack for a good chunk of Helvegr, but they don't live and die by it. They do break it up by throwing in some interesting slower parts here and there to take the foot off the blast pedal a little bit and offer a little variety so that the songs don't get completely overrun or redundant. But having said that, albums like Panzer Division Marduk, which is a fun album for me still to this day. I don't know if it was set out to be fun, but it just kind of came off that way. I like taking it on road trips. It's short. It's like a half hour long. It's a quick burn. You can listen to it twice and feel like you really got something accomplished. You know what I'm saying? Helvegr is a bit longer than that. It feels more advanced, although the main foundation is blast beats. This album is very much centered on a vibrant, lethal sounding production. The guitars are very crisp. The vocals are right out where they need to be. Every single element on the kit is cutting through the mix, and it was recorded at North Wave Studios, which I don't know exactly where that's at. Just thought I would share it in case some of you might know a little bit more about that than I do. The last album I heard from this band was Antilive, and like I said, I had it on record. I ended up not keeping it because it just didn't click that well with me. But for some reason, Helvegr feels a bit more like a progression. The songs seem a bit more varied and structured. And like I said, they added the slower parts here and there, like the title track itself, Helvegr. It starts off kind of slower, and it very much sounds like could have been riffs that existed or were borrowed from Die Mysterious Dom Satanis by Mayhem. But if you look at tracks more so like track number 4, Gemla Eric, very much a chaotic, even the riffs at their most chaotic still have an aura of memorability to it. They're catchy. And even though that the way they're structured out and with the blast beats hurling them along, it's very much a chaotic feeling, which it's really great how this band can take you from a realm of chaos into more of a slower, patient crawl. It just shows a band that knows what they're doing, even though they are taking bits and pieces here and there from bands that obviously were an influence to them. They are still recreating and remixing these ideas and in with their own and creating something that it sets a pace. It's invigorating. It's very energetic, but they have no problem slowing it down a minute here and there when they realize that maybe they've carried on the attack a little too long. It's a very good, well-paced record. The dynamics are sharp. Okay, so what bothers me about this record? You know what? Initially, the first couple listens, first impression, it just really didn't sink in that well. It just seemed like it was blasting for blasting's sake. They were out to just slay with their music, and it took multiple listens for me to work past that and realize that there was a little bit more care and thoughtful construction going on within the songs. The album starts to feel a bit long to me towards the end, but thankfully, like I said, towards track 7, they shifted gears a little bit with the slower Helvegr and kind of brought it back around again to keep me interested, which is good. And again, blasting, I'm all for it. It's great. It feels super intense, but if it's too much and the riffs aren't maybe catchy enough, it ends up being a bit, it wears on me. Thankfully, multiple listens. I always try to give each of these albums that we review enough spins where I feel like I can absorb it. And thankfully, I took the extra time here because my review probably would have been a little less enthusiastic, to say the least. But thankfully, Helvegr, I stuck with it, and this album ended up being fun. I know it's probably not supposed to be what you say with Norwegian black metal, and I do applaud the band for 2023 still creating what could be considered a solid Norwegian black metal style. Because let's be honest, the Norwegians for a while they started to advance outside of black metal after the mid 90s and the early 2000s. They started either getting more techie death or strange experimental. I will say one other thing that I've noticed is Tsjuder, they have always been super intense of a band, but maybe not necessarily sounding 100% Norwegian. What does that mean? Norwegian style black metal, if you're looking at Satyricon, Mayhem, Burzum, all the big ones from there, Tolka, they play all 6 strings in the style of chording. It gives a very atmospheric sound. Tsjuder always struck me as being a little bit more Swedish sounding, meaning, again, I'm going to bring the Marduk reference in. Swedish black metal was always far more, had more attack, less atmosphere, more dark harmonies, a lot more tremolo bass note type playing in the song structure. Tsjuder is always kind of fit stylistically for me in the Swedish scene than the Norwegian scene. They don't sound exactly like a traditional Norwegian band, although Helvegr does have moments where, like I said, they slow down, they're playing more proper Norwegian black metal chords. Who does the singing on this? Nag, the vocalist and the bassist. His vocals are just super scathing, sharp, right in your face. He really does a great job, not always following the beat, doing some different stuff with his vocal placement, even though he is also playing an instrument as well. Typically, I've found in my own experience in the past, you're playing an instrument and trying to sing, your brain typically follows what you're playing with your hands, so the vocal placement tends to lock in step with the guitar lines. Not so much here. Yeah, there's parts of that because there's a lot of blasting and it's kind of hard not to fall off of that beat. So at the end of the day, what do I think about Helvegr? I think I'm glad I stuck with it. It grew on me a lot. Is it something I'm going to run out and buy? Maybe if I could find it cheap, to be honest. Am I going to go buy the vinyl? Am I going to go, do all that stuff? I feel like I'd be better suited picking up Desert Northern Hell, which I don't have, and Legion Helvete, which I've never heard either of those bands. I'm not expecting, after having the first two and one time owning their last album, I kind of feel like I'm not missing much. You know what I mean? I think they're probably good records, but it's just one of those things where this is the type of band where if I own a couple of their records, I'm probably good. But if Helvegr showed up in a shop in front of my face, used or whatever, I would definitely buy it and I would enjoy the hell out of it for the time I spent spinning it. I got to hand it to this band. They've been around since 1993. They were definitely within the Norwegian scene during the rise, and they endured the fall as well of the popularity. And they went on a hiatus for a while to focus on other bands. They broke up for a while. And then, of course, about the time they get back together and get their gears going for Helvegr, the pandemic hit. So, I mean, this is a band that has endured some ups and downs for sure. But the two core members, the only guys left in the band, Nag on vocals and bass and Drogluin on guitars. These are both original members that have been there since 93. They employed a guy named John Rice to play drums on this album, and there's also John Rice and another guy help out live as well. So this is a band that's still moving forward, wanting to play live, and still, decades later, putting out good, solid black metal worth listening to. So yeah, if you're into the blasting speed and the fury, not a whole lot of melody, maybe not a lot of atmosphere, just more attack than the feels, then I think you should give Helvegr a try. I mean, for myself, I liked it. I've had a good time listening to it. Again, if I were to buy it, not super sure how much I would listen to it beyond the purchase point, but that's one of those things. Time and mood really plays a big part of that. And you need to figure out where you're at in it. It's thankfully available to go on Spotify right now or Bandcamp or wherever you stream your music, and give this a chance for yourself. See what you think. In the meantime, that's all I have on this record. Check out Tsjuder. All the links, relevant links to the band and the label and their music is in the description, of course. Thanks a lot. And my name is Marty. It's good to see you. If you enjoy this content, we've got far more reviews for you to check out from myself and my fellow colleagues here on Heavy Metallurgy. Stick around. We come around every Monday, sometimes maybe more. Of course, we got Wednesdays and Friday streams as well. And we got sweet new merch. Check it out. Links in the description. Thanks a lot, and we will see you next time.
So let's dream and make it all.